Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Cricket Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is Calvin Waldron and Andre Doc Manders as co-hosts. Gentlemen, we are coming to the end of the season and things are playing out. Let's just run down today's Premier Division matches. And it saw St. George's Cricket Club win by 4 wickets over Western Stars. Western Stars scored 119 for 7 in their 20 overs. St. George's scored 120 for 6. Baylis Bay won by 8 wickets over St. David's Cricket Club. St. David's Cricket Club scored 100 for 9, and Baylis Bay would score 103 for 2. Somerset Cricket Club won by 68 runs over Willowcutts. Somerset Cricket Club scored 183 for 7, and Willowcutts scored 115 for 9. In the first division, Cleveland County won by 15 runs over Flats Victoria. Cleveland County were all out for 106 and then restricted Flats Victoria to 91 for 8. Somerset Bridge won by 67 runs over Devonshire Recreation Club. Somerset Bridge would score 142 for 3, and then Bow Devonshire Recreation Club out for 75. Warwick Workmen's Club won by 2 wickets over Southampton Rangers. Southampton Rangers scored 130 for 8, and Warwick Workmen's Club scored 131 for 8. Well, gentlemen, it's kind of heating up, and it's going to come down to next weekend for the Premier Division. Who wins the league? The two front runners in St. George's and Baylis Bay will face each other next week. But let's talk a little bit about this week. We'll start with the St. George's Western Stars match. Western Stars would go to bat. They won the toss and went to bat. They scored at 119. Jason Anderson, top scorer 29. Gavin Manders scored 17 along with Brian Hole. Sion Darrell added 13. But Cal, 119 in the 20 overs surely was well below what Western Stars would have been looking for.
Yeah, definitely. Not enough runs on the board for them, considering that they were playing St. George's, the league leaders at that lane. Just wasn't enough runs. It came down. They built well. They felt well, but it just wasn't enough runs. So maybe another 20, 30 runs would have been a really, really tight match.
Yeah, and taking a quick look at the Berlin figures for St. George's, and Zari Painter, 2 for 23 off of 4. Shakai Darrell, 2 for 7 off of 4. John Tay Smith, 1 for 28. And Dale Hollis, 1 for 14. Just, not giving up a lot of runs in those 4 overs for the Bullets. Charles Trotbill, 2 for 18. He was expensive. But other than that, then turning around in reply, St. George's would not get off to a good start. They lost the first wicket on 10, their second wicket on 20, third wicket on 38, fourth on 38, fifth on 64 after the 11th over. But they managed to get 31 not out from Onias Bascom and 36 from Sinclair Smith. They took the score from that 64 to 119 before Smith was dismissed, and then they needed the 1 run for the victory. Clearly, Doc, St. George's managed to pull things out of the hat when it comes to Western Stars.
What the time in it? This is like the second or third time. Stars always give, they knock them on. St. George's been the first the last couple of times. No, I'm sorry. Stars always seem like the bet first, but they never get a beat total. Like I said, maybe not 20, 30 runs. You never know. But they always blow well against them. But it's in that betting where again, they don't score enough runs, man. 150, I think 140, 150. Then you give myself they give myself a chance to win. Like I said, and that's been the whole season when they've been playing against St. George's.
Yeah, definitely. Quick look at the Berlin figures.
Work on.
Huh?
No, I said it's something they need to work on because when they play those top teams like even when Bay, same thing. Most of the time, everyone's got to chip in to get their V2. it's good to see Jason get some runs. You know, Jason's been scoring in the 20s and 30s for the last couple of weeks. But they need other guys to chip in, you know, other than Trey, Jason, and Brian Hole. I think turning point. I think Brian Hole got run out. And he was, you know, he was just started playing, but you know, it matches that out there. You know, when you get run out, you get top batsmen, or you know, good catches or something, it swings your games around. And then again, if you look at it, Stars had him in a bit of trouble, 60 for 5 too. If they maybe would have got Onias, you know, it could have been a different game too. But then again, you look at it, still not enough runs. 119 runs is not enough.
Definitely, yeah. Quick look at the Berlin stats. Deontay Derlin, 3 for 17 off of 3. Seth Campbell, 3.3 overs, 2 for 17. Any other bowler to take a wicket was Rohan Davis, 1 for 25 off of 4. Just never going to be enough runs at all for Western Stars. Then let's take a look at the Somerset and Willowcutts game. Somerset went to bat first. They scored 183 for 7. They had 62 from Dominic Sabir. He faced 29 balls, 7 4s, and 3 6s. He and Kamal put on a 97-run opening wicket partnership in 8 overs before Kamal went for 27. LJ Richardson came in and he put up 37, and they got 17 from JD Albertese, and the only other batsman in double figures was Greg Mabry with 10. In the bowling department, Herbie Bascom, 4 overs, 4 for 15. Shaquille Bean, 1 for 31. Shamara Gomes, 1 for 46. And Chioke Bearston, 1 for 34. They just gave up too many runs, Doc. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 180. You know, even though I think the game was outrageous, isn't it? Well, Somerset.
Was that Rangers?
Rangers that I thought. You know, that's 180 up Rangers sometimes could be a difficult score, but then it's, you know, all depends how the wickets play because it's a small field. You know, 180 is not much runs up Rangers, but Willowcutts to give them a chance because they kept losing wickets early, and they was never in the game. So, you know, and with Somerset's bowling attack would have been a little difficult, you know, with them too, Kamal and Jordan and these guys, you know, and Greg Mabry. So it's always a big task for Cutts. You know, nice thing about it, even though the basically going, you know, they're showing up, you know, the fighting to the end, and then that's nice to see.
And then for Willowcutts, when they went to bat, they could only manage 115 for 9 in their 20 overs. Shaquille Bean scored 30. Herbie Bascom scored 27. Ross Burrows 16. They were the only batsmen in double figures, and that was never going to be enough. I mean, they lost their first wicket on 39 after the 6.4 overs. After 6.4 overs, they were losing wickets regularly, and you know it was just going to be a challenge. Azam Morrissey 4 for 23 off of 4. Jordan De Silva 2 for 22 off of 3. Matt Fullerton 1 for 13 off of 2, and Kamal 1 for 15 off of 4. Cal, just as Doc said, the Willowcutts keep showing up. How do they build for next season? Going to be in the first division. How do they build themselves back up?
They have the players, they have the personnel. You know, maybe they need a couple more players to boost them, boost the numbers. But they're going to play cricket. They're going to show up week in and week out. And it's just a matter of this, that, or there, producing the goods. This year was a rough year where nobody really done anything dominant to keep them up in that division. You know, losing Casey and Reyna. Those were two guys that really carried them through last year, but they'll still play. They'll still show up.
Sure. And then the final Premier Division game was Baylis Bay beating their Eastern County rival St. David's Cricket Club by 8 wickets. St. David's batted first. They could only manage 100 for 9 in their allotted 20 overs. Only two batsmen in double figures. Isaiah O'Brien scored 35 and Eugene Bowl scored 11. No other batsman was able to get into double figures. You had Delray Rollins taking 3 for 14 off of 4. Shirai Tavares 2 for 8 off of 4. And Teron Webb 2 for 21 off of 4. Mikhail Walker 1 for 23. And Kyle Hutzel 1 for 7 off of 2. So just an all-round performance for Baylis Bay. The bowlers done their job in restricting St. David's to that total of 100, Cal.
Yeah, that's why they're, second in the league. They wanted to keep that title race going to the last weekend. And once again, St. David's was continued. Not sure the personnel and players say it, but they've had trouble scoring runs pretty much all season, so that carried on.
And then in reply, Baylis Bay would score 103 for 2. Delray Rollins 33. Coolidge Durham 30 not out. Terran Freight 29 not out. Shirai Tavares was out for 4. All the bowlers in St. David's, if you look at it, Justin Pitcher 1 for 29. Isaiah O'Brien 1 for 18. They were the only 2 to take wickets. CJ Otterbridge 4 overs, none for 23. George O'Brien 4 overs, 1 maiden, none for 17. And Eugene Bowl 1 over, none for 12. That total, Doc, it would never seem to bother a team like Baylis Bay who are in the form they're in. What do you think?
Yeah, like Cal said, that betting has been in trouble most of the season. OJ has not been playing for the last couple of weeks. Ricardo and Derek's been in and out of the team, for reasons. But it's nice to see the youngsters like O'Brien, Isaiah get runs. He's been in the under-19, so it's good to see him get some runs. And it's good to see CJ back out playing now. He's in with his court now. So he's got to play. He's got to keep his momentum building. And it's nice to see these guys back out, but still, it's not the building. It's the runs. They just can't score enough runs to give themselves a chance to win in the game.
Yeah, and looking at it, I mean, I don't think they've won a game, or if they have, they've only won 1 game. What will it take for them to come back and be powerhouses like they were in the past?
With the youngsters they got, like I said, they got that little boy Isaiah O'Brien. You got I forget the other little boy's name. It's a painter. I'm sure looking at their youth, the Eastern Conference, they always do well in the Eastern Conference. For sure, they got a lot of more youth that's coming through. It might be a period where they might start, losing a bit, playing the youngsters to give them a chance. It's probably good for them to go on. And then if there's some experienced players, and then with the youth, they're gonna have to start developing. Right now, because you don't know who's going to come back next year. If they pick up some players next season, it might be good for them, along with the youth that they got. So they got a lot of potential down there. Justin Pitcher still down there. Seniors, George O'Brien, and a few of these other guys. But they just need some structure. I think they need a couple more players that can bet. And they already have the building line up down there, but they just didn't make enough runs, man.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll look at the first division results from today. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son is bringing us something fresh and exciting for the new year. Vi Antioxidant Infusion Beverage. Vi delivers the natural antioxidant benefits of the coffee fruit in glorious combination with a variety of exotic fruit flavors, with only 1 gram of sugar and 10 calories per bottle. The folks at Vi are inviting us on a world tour through these amazing flavors. Brazilian blueberry, Zambia Bing cherry, Costa Rica clementine, Malawi mango, Panama peach, Ipanema pomegranate, Kupang strawberry kiwi, and more. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, let's take a look at that match between Southampton Rangers and Warwick Workmen's Club, where Southampton Rangers would bat first and score 130 for 8. They had 43 from Dalen Richardson, 24 from Jelani Oldboy. Jamari Beach scored 19 not out. Keyshawn Wilson added 15. They were the only ones in the double figures. In the bowling, Callum McFarlane 3 for 17 off of 3. Luke Horan 2 for 19 off of 4. Quincy James 2 for 34 off of 4. And Keon Butterfield 1 for 23 off of 4 in the bowling department. But Rangers would have been feeling good about themselves, Doc. 130 runs, thinking that they would have had a chance against Warwick.
Yeah. Again, playing up Rangers. Rangers team right now, they're doing what Cuts is doing. Even though they're losing, they're showing up, man. They're putting up a fight, And you gotta get hard to those guys because it's hard for them. A lot of these guys hasn't played cricket for a long time. Dalen's been playing. Jelani Oldboy, a few of those guys, but these guys are taking them just as senior players, but they're still young. Yeah. So it's good to see that they're still, like you said, the shield showing up, they're fighting right to the end. 130, I know they probably would have felt good playing against Warwick, but then you look at Warwick's team, they got a lot of under 19 players, some experienced players with Malachi, Crazy James, and these guys. So you can't Warwick out even though they score 130. But so they lost 8 wickets getting it, so it was a good game. But both teams got a lot of young players, and I think next year both of those teams could keep the same team. Now Warwick probably still in contention for going up in the Premier Division because that's still tight. Somerset's running, not Somerset, I'm sorry. Cleveland's running away with it so far. Yeah. So you still got Warwick, who else? Flats maybe.
Yeah.
That's still fighting, but Flats lost today. So Warwick still, got something to play for. So I
looking at the Warwick getting.
I think Warwick will probably take that second spot.
Looking at the Warwick inning, Cal, Malachi Jones scored 31. They scored 131 for 4. Next highest was Robert Richardson on 17. Luke Horan scored 15. Quincy James was 12. Trey Vance was 14. And they got across the line with 1 over to spare in the bowling department. Keyshawn Wilson 2 for 28. Mackay Jacobs 2 for 23. And Dalen Richardson 1 for 21. And Jamari Beach 1 for 2 off of 1. But as Doc said, Cal, having a lineup with the likes of Malachi and Kwesi in it, Warwick would always feel they have a chance. You think?
Yeah, I think it was a good match considering both of them, you know, particularly for Rangers. The rebuilding, those guys have a lot of positive energy within themselves. Kudos to them for sticking together despite the scores and the results that they've been getting. But once again, they fought to the end, one overlap, maybe some more runs, and the game could have swayed a different way for them.
Definitely. Let's move on to the Cleveland County Flats game. Very interesting. Cleveland County were billed out for 106. The top scorer for them was Stephen Bremer with 33, Alan Douglas 28, Mackay McGowan 23 not out, Treadwell Gibbons 10. They were the only four batsmen in double figures, and this was one of Cleveland County's lowest score all season. Batting first in the bowling department, Detroit Smith, 3 overs, 1 maiden, 4 for 9. Paul Carr, 3 overs, 3.4 overs, 3 for 13. Kevin Lamb, 1 for 21. Regino Smith, 1 for 6 off of 4 with 2 maidens. Looking at it, Cal, that score for Cleveland County, they would be a little disappointed in that total, would you think?
Yeah, I think so. A very, very low total, and I actually heard he score, and then I was surprised to see that they actually won. Flats had a good partnership there, and then the bottom fell out.
Right out.
Bottom fell way out.
Yeah.
Disappointed. I think Flats will be disappointed that they didn't get the win. But okay, kudos to the experienced team for doing what it takes to get across the line.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick look at that Flats inning. Jan Johan now scored 54, and they could only manage 91 for 8. They were losing wickets on a regular basis at the beginning. They were 1 for 3, 2 for 20. Then they had a partnership between Detroit Smith and Jan Johan now. They took the score to 77 for 3 after 11.4 overs. And from that point, they only managed 14 runs, from the 11.4 overs to the 20th over. They only managed 14 runs, and lost 5 wickets, and 4 of them were runouts. It was just not going to be a good day for Flats in the bowling department. Mackay McGowan, 2 for 14 off of 4. Kushai Darrell, 1 for 26 off of 4. Dion Stovall, 1 for 14 off of 4. That included the maiden. It's just, Doc, I mean, when you hear that they're sitting at 77 for 3, chasing 106, Flats would have been in the driver's seat. But then all out for 91. Well, 91 and losing those extra 5 wickets for 8 wickets. It's got to be heartbreaking for them. You think?
Definitely, because like I said, in the runnings to go up, it's like you look at it, it's between Warwick and Nail. You beat Cleveland, you're right back in, right back there now. They basically got to hope that Warwick loses, and they've been all their games. But like you said, 74 for 3. And, like I told you, we talk about run out in games, like, crucial games that are there. Running between the wickets is important. They got to give credit to JJ now, because this boy scored 50-something out of that 90-something runs. And nobody else other than Detroit could help, chip in. That's very, very, very disappointing for him, man. That's one game they slip. I mean, that could have give Cleveland their first defeat. If I'm sure Cleveland might say, when it was 70-something for 3, they probably said, but you got to give kudos to Cleveland for keep fighting to the end. The game's never over, ain't it? I mean, that total 106. Like I said, with team feeling good, you get 3 or 4 runouts. So obviously Cleveland done something right. I mean, the fielding must have been excellent to get the runouts, or it could have been players that lost. They probably lost Detroit and JJ at crucial times. Like, they probably both got out the same time, and new batsmen come in. It puts a lot of pressure on the guys that are coming in.
Yeah.
Once they get out, the momentum is flowing for Cleveland. No, that being one of the best players. You look at Cleveland's lineup; they had all those guys playing. Deion Allen, McGowan, Cliche, all these guys. There's these guys they're getting wickets from all season. So that's a heartbreaking loss for them.
Yeah, definitely. And then the final first division game, Somerset Bridge won by 67 runs over Devonshire Recreation Club. Sean Riley, 76 off of 66 balls. He had 5 fours, 3 sixes. Neil Tucker, 48 off of 43 balls, 4 fours, 1 6. They had an opening wicket partnership of 126. That kind of put a big hole in Devonshire Rec. Only 2 wicket takers, Dion Bowl, 1 for 32 off of 4, and Rudolph Pitcher, 1 for 25 off of 4. But Somerset Bridge putting up a total of 142 against a team like Devonshire Rec, who always seem to show up, but always seem to show up short. And they were again short today. But Somerset Bridge would have thought, okay, this one here is going to be an easy one, being that they put up a big total. Well,
like I said, I don't know how short Devonshire Rec was, but 140 something already was a good total. You look at Devonshire Rec's team. I mean, it looks like they had most of the players that have been playing for them all season. Chris Daly and a few of the boys. I'm looking at the teams that basically had the same team every week. So, but like you said, it's just nobody that's getting amongst the runs. I'm sure if they would have probably got a good start or some good partnerships going, you never know what happens. But that's what happened to Somerset Bridge. Then they lost 3 wickets. That 100-something run partnership, that knocked the stuffing right out of Rec right there. But I'm surprised they didn't get more runs than that. But 140 against Devonshire Rec, you probably take that any day. And like you said, 50 bowlers that Bria Chaff, that they had some fairly decent bowlers, so that was probably a good total for them. Yeah.
Looking at the Devonshire Rec reply, Rudolph Pitcher top scorer with 12, Darren Adams at 10, as well as Grundy Bascom at 10. Not out. They were the only batsmen in double figures, and they could only score 75 in the bowling department. Samir Tavares, 3 for 21 over 2.5. Shane Hollis, 2 for 4 off of 2. That included a maiden. Douglas, 2 for 8 off of 3. Sean Riley, 1 for 12 off of 2. So he had a good all-round performance in that regard. But looking at the Devonshire Rec lineup, Cal, it was always going to be a big hill for them to climb, especially if you can't get the first 2 out until the 16th over.
Yeah, my year was a calculated total by Bridge. Wasn't that many risks. They dropped Sean early, dropped catches again by Devonshire Rec. In the end, it came and cost them. But at the end of the day, they still never really escalated the total. They had wickets in hand and just comfortably batted the overs out. Devonshire Rec never got a good start. Most of the batsmen that they had that are capable of scoring runs, it was just one of them days that the bowling was tight. Bridge felt out decent. A good field placement, so it restricted them, causing the batsmen to make mistakes and give their wickets away.
All right. Well, we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to look at next weekend's matches, because there are some interesting matches to decide promotion and league champions in both the Premier and First Division. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Here's one of our favorite feature brands, true veterans of the food awareness movement. Bob's Red Mill, the U.S. leading miller of organic whole grain foods. Only whole grains have the entire value developed during growth. And once you try them, you know that this is the way food was intended to be. Try Bob's Red Mill blanched almond, whole wheat pastry, and artisan bread flours, and 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour, unsweetened shredded coconut, gluten-free homemade wonderful bread mix, and a variety of rolled oats. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, come next week, Saturday, we will see at Somerset Cricket Club, Western Stars will take on Somerset Cricket Club. St. David's will take on Willowcotts. And St. George's at Wellington Oval will take on Bailey's Bay. That is the one match that everyone will be looking at, because that will ultimately be the decider of who wins the league at the Wellington Oval. Cal, let me ask you, Bailey's Bay would feel very confident because they defeated St. George's in their first match at Seabreeze Oval. What would St. George's need to do this time around to overturn that result?
I think they have the confidence going in. They are leading the tables and they're playing at hand. I know Clay will be a good tactician and readjust from what went wrong the first match. So I think it's going to be a good match. You can't ask for anything about it. Winner takes all. Winner comes out with the league title, unless they slip up this Sunday.
Right. Doc, for Bailey's Bay, what do you think they need to keep doing that allowed them to beat St. George's the first time and be in the position they're in?
If you look at me, just do what they've been doing the whole season. It's been everybody keeps talking about Delray, but you look at it's been a totally team effort. First it's looked like Delray finally got some wickets, but with the Berlin lineup, they've got Walker, they've got spinners, they've got Rutney, they got the boy Tavares is getting wickets. So they had a very good Berlin attack and betting. So basically they just got to do what they've been doing all season. They got a good all-round team, and it's just a matter of them sticking to that game plan. I'm sure they'll have some type of game plan again playing against St. George's. They got to have, I guess, plan A and plan B. But just basically do what they like you said, they beat St. George's the first time. So you can't. 2020 is it's anybody's game. It's just who's going to be on. I mean, it's always a little bit of luck involved, and it depends who hurls the catches and whoever makes the most runs and sticks to the gameplay will win their game.
The other game that's going to be interesting is the matchup between St. David's and Willowcotts, the two I would say, relegated teams. I guess what they'll be looking for is bragging rights going into the next season, because they'll be in the first division, and they, if they continue with the youngsters that they have and the lineups that they have, they'll be considered favorites to come right back. But who do you favor over the other in this match, Cal? St. David's or Willicots?
I think for me, the interesting thing will be it's a Sedley, so who actually has the most players available.
Right.
It'd be tight trying to get 11 players if guys can't get off, but he said I think the last league game, nobody wants to be sitting at the bottom of the table to say, you came last. I would favor St. David's for the experienced players they have. Maybe they will get something correct and right, but I still think it's going to be a good battle between the two. So I do favor St. David's for that one.
Okay. What about you, Doc? Who do you favor?
Like Cal said, it's the availability of the players in it. Because Sedley sometimes it's hard for all of these guys work like this. But like you said, who wants to come last? Like, it's gonna be a toss up. Cal said St. David's. I'm leaning towards Willicots, because I'm sure I just think that Willicots. I think Willicots beat St. David's the last time. I'm thinking because St. David's is. It'll be like I think whoever shows up on the day, but it could be a toss up. I'm gonna go for Cuts.
Okay, all right. And that other match on that Saturday, we'll see Western Stars and Somerset. Interesting matchup because again, there's some bragging rights in there. Somerset have come on of late with the availability of all those other players who were abroad, now on island. And Stars have been, doing well all seasons. In some games, the big games coming up just shy. But you think this time around, Cal, Western Stars will want to get this one right?
Yeah, most definitely. For some reason, Somerset did play short today. So, maybe they do have to look at that for next weekend why players weren't playing. Can get the extra 2 to make 11. But I think the consistency will favor Stars. Somerset have a few match winners within their team that could turn a match between Kamal, Dominic, Jordan, and LJ and them players. So I think that's going to be a really good match between them two.
Yeah, and Doc, what do you think Somerset have to do to come out on the right end of this one against Western Stars?
Like I said, I think it's going to be an interesting matchup because the fight, both of those teams are fighting for third place. So I'm sure, again, we'll come to Somerset will still going to come to the availability of players in. So, so then again, it's one thing I know Somerset is going to probably definitely need 11 players against Stars, but they got some match winners, you never know if Kamal, you said, Sabir's in form, he's making runs and getting wickets. Still got Jordan, you got LJ, you could make runs. I think Stars will have to, Trey and the rest of the batsmen like Brian Hall and these guys going to have to need to get runs for them to beat. They need to get a good score on the board. And then they give themselves a chance to win because, you see Dominic and Kamal open up. They have a 90-run partnership, right?
Yeah.
If you can get one of those two out, and then you get through them, then Stars got a chance. But it's an interesting matchup,
Yeah.
Where's that game played to?
That one is going to be up at Somerset Cricket Club.
Wow. Yeah. So, Somerset's normally got a good wicket. So, that's going to be very interesting.
Cal, it could have been that Somerset Trojans are playing right now. So maybe one or two of those players that have been playing cricket wouldn't want to burn themselves out to play at 3 o'clock and then turn around and play at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll give them a blind.
Yeah, yeah. And then on the
Yeah.
Sunday, St. George's Cricket Club take on Willow Cuts, Somerset take on St. David's, and Western Stars take on Bailey's Bay. That should be a very interesting matchup as well for Western Stars, because I to be honest, Doc, Western Stars would want to show these, especially Somerset and Bailey's Bay, that they belong in the league and they're worthy opponents.
Yeah.
Just looking at how the season finishes for them, it's important for them to really show up and show out on the Sunday, isn't it?
It all depends of what they do the day before, innit? I mean, if they beat St. George, right, some of those guys might rest because they remember there's a lot of young guys on there. They got enough players that one team will be they have enough players to have two teams, and so if they beat St. George's on the Saturday, I'm not saying they're gonna play, the Abika team, but some of those guys might rest to give some of the youngsters a game. Because they probably already have won the league, so it'll be interesting to see. But whoever they put in the team is still got a good team. Doesn't matter. Stars still have to be at their best too. So yeah, it's all next week is good. Next week will be interesting matches. Both divisions, if you think about it, the Premier and the First Division. So. Just hopefully that the games get played, because it's another hurricane hanging around.
Right.
So hopefully the games do get played, and we could finish the season off.
Right. Let's quickly jump to the First Division, because on Saturday, Devonshire Rack and Southampton Rangers play at St. David's, while Warwick Workmen take on Cleveland County at Wellington Oval, and then the battle for those are two games on Saturday, and on Sunday the battle for that other promotion spot up at Southampton Oval. Warwick Workmen take on Flats, Devonshire Rack take on Cleveland, and Somerset Bridge take on Rangers to end the season. That match on Sunday up at Southampton Oval, 10:30, Warwick and Flats. Cal, after what will Flats have to do to get over the disappointment of today's result to be able to go up to Southampton and get the necessary points needed off of Warwick to take that second spot, if they can?
But they would know what's at stake. You're in it, you control it. There's the mental approach to the game. They have the players capable of getting decent results. It's just a matter of getting out there with the right mentality and performing. So if you want to get promoted, this is it. This is what we got to do.
Yeah. And for Warwick, Doc, making sure that they show up to do what they have to do. What's your thoughts on how they would approach this match, knowing that Flats kind of opened the door for them by today's defeat?
Yeah, and I'm sure they looked at that, but I tell you what, they're not going to underestimate Flats, because, like I said, that game could have been either way, and I know that they know that Flats Steel's got a chance to go up, so they still need to be prepared. Guys like Quasey and Malley's going to have to get runs, along with some of the under 19s. One thing about Warwick, they got a nice group of young players that a lot of those younger guys could build, bat, and field. But still, this is when the Malachi Jones and Quasey step up to get a nice big total. Both games, because they got Cleveland on the side. They got two hard games if you look at it. So I don't know who Flats play on the second, but so this is an important weekend for Warwick, and I'm sure the coaching staff and players are looking at this weekend, because they know that. I think they only probably need to win one of those games, and they might be safe. But I haven't really seen, the standings. But I know that maybe one game probably put them through, being that Flats lost this week.
Yeah. We're going to take another commercial break, and then we'll take a look at the top performers and pick the player of the week. We'll be right back.
It seems everyone knows someone who's lactose intolerant or just avoiding dairy products. And fortunately, there's a growing array of delicious and nutritious alternatives. Pacific Natural Foods have been doing things their own way simply and sustainably for over a quarter century, making non-dairy beverages with the finest possible ingredients right down to the packaging. Try Pacific Natural Original and Vanilla Hemp Milk and Almond Original Plant-Based Beverage, all sweetened or unsweetened, and low-sodium organic vegetable or chicken broth. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, let's take a look at the top performers from this week. In the Western Stars St. George's game, Deontay Durling, 3 wickets for 21 runs off of 3 overs for Western Stars. In the St. David's Bayless Bay game, Isaiah O'Brien, top scorer for St. David's, 35. He also took 1 for 18. Delray Rollins took 3 wickets for 14 runs for Bayless Bay, and then scored 33 as the top scorer. In the Somerset Willowcotts match, Dominic Sabir, 62, top scorer. Herbie Bascom, 4 for 15 off of 4, and he would also score 27 runs. Azar Morrissey for Somerset Cricket Club, 4 for 23 off of 4. Detroit Smith in the match between Cleveland County and Flats took 4 for 9 off of 3 overs, included a maiden. Paul Carr, Harvey, 3.4 overs, 3 for 13. JJ now is the top scorer with 54 for Flats. Mackay McGowan took 2 for 14. At the match between Somerset Bridge and Daventshire Rec, we had Sean Riley score 76 off of 66 balls to lead Somerset Bridge to that 142 for 3. And Samir Tavares took 3 for 21 off of 2.5 overs. And then Dalen Richardson scored 43 for Southampton Rangers in their total of 130 against Warwick Workmen's. Colin McFarlane took 3 for 17 for 3 overs. And then in reply, Malachi scored 31. And Mackay Jacobs took 2 for 23. Cal, who stands out for you in that?
Geez, there are a lot of good performances this week.
Right.
There are guys that made runs. You got guys that took wickets. I think Dominic was the high score for the weekend.
No, Sean Riley.
Sean Dominic. You had some bailers that took three wickets, 4 wickets.
3 wickets, yeah.
I think it'll probably end up being another split weekend. It's hard I would say it's hard to pick one person, and there were so many that performed well after a 2-week break, 2-week break.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think on that one there.
Okay. I'd come to Doc. Doc, who stands out for you?
Well, being that Sean Riley got the leading goals, he got 76, and he got I think he got a wicket. So he
got a wicket as well. Yeah.
Run. And then, like I said, Dominic Savert too. I don't know if he blew, but he scored runs too.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody got four wickets. I can't remember.
Yeah, Herbie got 4 wickets. Herbie got 4 wickets and scored 27.
Yeah,
Dalray got 3 wickets and scored 33.
Yeah.
Detroit Smith got 4 wickets as well.
Yeah. I'm looking for the even though they don't well, but I try and look for these guys on a losing course. So that's why I was going for Sean Riley.
Okay. Well, I thought it was a toss-up between 3 players: Sean Riley, Dalray, and Herbie. Only because those 2 made runs and took a lot of wickets, and Sean made a lot of runs and took a wicket. The only thing was Herbie was in a losing cause, while Dalray and Sean were in a winning cause.
Yeah.
You ready now, Cal? I picked 3.
Yeah, I'll give it to Sean. I think he had a good performance with the bat today, and he bowled well.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, Sean. Doc?
Yeah, I said I agree.
You picked Sean as well? Okay, well, let's just say congratulations to Sean Riley, Somerset Bridge, for being the Gosling's Player of the Week. How's that?
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very, very much for joining us this evening. We'll be back next week at some point to wrap up the season for the cricket show. I want to thank you guys for your time thus far, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
You too, brother.
Okay.
Good. All right.